Hello, Happy New Year to everyone. Welcome to another episode of Pain Management Series. I am your host Anica Dubey in conversation with Dr. Raj Dhingra, a well-known chiropractic physician, leading your way to better health through acupuncture. Welcome, Dr. Dhingra.
Anika ji, thanks for having me and Happy New Year to you and Happy New Year to our listeners. I'm so glad to be here. Let us see how it goes.
Today, we are going to focus on a very common issue faced by all age groups, migraine. We would like to know from you, Dr. Dhingra, what is migraine? What are the common causes of migraine and how debilitating it is?
Anika ji, I like your question with the second part as well, that how debilitating it is. As the name suggests, that definition of migraine is a conspicuous kind of a headache that's very throbbing, very pulsating, associated with aversion to very sensitivity to high music, high sounds, flickering lights, and um, with very, I mean, debilitated in the sense that it makes you dysfunctional. People start throwing up and people start get bedridden, and they end up in sometime an emergency. Mostly they have the pain on the one side of the face or the head, but sometimes they can have both sides. Sometimes they can be associated with the aura. Aura is like some kind of a sensory stimulation, sensory perceptions just before the pain. And aura means that they perceive some kind of neurological aberrations, that the flashing light or zigzag light or some kind of a maybe tingling sensation on the one side of the face, or on the some kind of a paresthesia or one side of the leg or the arm, and that's also very discomforting to the patient. And many people don't have the aura. Most of them don't have. About 20% of the people, they have the aura. Looking at what causes the migraine, it has been disease for centuries. Usually it is in the adolescence and then goes to the manifesting in the teens and middle age. Generally it peaks around the middle age, but sometimes it goes through the whole different phases of life and continues to stay even in the age group above 50. When we look at the cause of the pain, what could be the cause of the pain? The scientists have been looking at what are the triggers of the pain. As first, it was commonly observed that the in women it was more common, like 3 times more common in women. So they found that the hormonal changes, particularly during the menstruation, menopausal, during the birth, and then those who were like treating the uh, infertility with the oral contraceptive, like were taking for taking for prevention of the pregnancy, the oral contraceptives, or the hormones for the infertility. They found that the migraine attacks were more triggered with the sound, with the high music, with the flickering lights, with the very high scents or perfumes. So one thing was sure when the scientists looked at it, it is the sensory perceptions which are undergoing some kind of aberrations and could be linked to the neurological system. The cause of the headache may be related to the neurological system. And when they found that uh, the pain pattern is probably uh, overlaps with the nerve, trigeminal nerve, which causes the headache pain pathway, is probably disturbed by the brain stem of the brain. And now they are looking at apparently that a hormone called the serotonin may be playing a contribution in towards the genesis of the pain. And earlier we were dependent upon the just the abortive drugs, like you
Right.
could give some drugs whether over the counter or prescription drugs like triptans, they were able to abort the attack or decrease the intensity of the attack. And now, because of this pathology that people are looking into the brain, they are looking at even at a new kind of the drugs, which they think that some kind of a hormone, calcitonin gene associated hormone, is associated with it.
That was very educative and insightful, Dr. Dhingra. When we talk about migraine, what are the symptoms of migraine and how does it present itself in natural form?
Most commonly and usually the migraine can be divided into 4 parts. That this is how migraine can manifest: prodrome, aura, in real actual form, and that the attack form, and then the post drome. So in prodrome, sometimes in a day or two before the when the migraine attack is going to happen, it happens that people start feeling weird symptoms. They start feeling depressed, they will have food craving, they can start having constipation, they'll have tickling on the bones, on the legs, on the arms, they feel yawning, unusual yawning and tiredness. And then is the aura. As we were briefly touching before, what aura is, that you feel perceptions of the sensory aberrations, like you feel zigzag lines or flashing lights, or you can be loss of vision, you could have blurriness, you could have unusual sensitivity to the music, you can hear sounds, you can have uh, uh, perception of that some unusual sensory activities are happening in your body. And then the third phase is attack form. It usually stays about 4 to it can stay 4 hours to, actually aura can stay between 4 minutes to an hour, and the migraine attack itself can be of duration of 4 hours to 72 hours. Generally, it abates, and after that, or intensity of this becomes less. And in the attack, like usually people have a throbbing pain, pulsating pain, excessive, aversion to the music or sensitivity to the high music, flashing lights, to all the factors we discussed. And then they can even throw up, they can have very unusual weakness, and they prefer the dark lights. They want to sleep in the dark, don't want to be disturbed. Touching sensation is very, very, they fear it, somebody touching it. So this is the actual attack. And then the post-drome can be, after the attack, you could be weird, you could be depressed, you could be elated, unusual feeling, you could be very excited, or you could be feeling that, look, withdrawn, and in a room you don't want to do anything, you feel weak and very not participating at all in the activities of daily life.
That was very informative, Dr. Dhingra. Good to know about the symptoms of migraine. Dr. Dhingra, how do we cure migraine naturally, as you do in your clinic with acupuncture? What are the preventive measures?
Anika ji, as you said, naturally, so far many years before the scientific discoveries came up, we were treating migraine only naturally, because whatever was the trigger, we were trying to avoid the trigger. If you are averse to the music, or you are averse to the high sounds or high flickering lights or flashing lights, and we were trying to avoid that. And if you have like sensitivity to the hormonal changes, so try to avoid the taking the hormones, like, or the birth control pills or the contraceptives. And certain things we were trying to avoid naturally. Some food things can also they can aggravate the pain. For example, aged cheese, alcoholic drinks, particularly red wine, and then aspartame, that is in the sugar substitutes, and what is this called, the MSG, monosodium glutamate. This is mostly used in high quantity in the foods which are preserved over a long shelf life. So avoid these things naturally, and then based upon that, the whole aberration happened in the brain because of the neurological circuits. So you are trying to make it, cool it down. So yoga is the best remedy for the natural treatment. Meditation is one which can help. From my angle, particularly what I give in my office, acupuncture. And there is a special reason for acupuncture to be effective for migraine, because it increases a natural happy hormone which counteracts the stress hormones. It releases the natural endorphins. Endorphins give you feeling of well-being and a sense of that, relaxation in the mind. And then acupuncture helps in many ways. Briefly speaking, it reinforces the processing ability of the all painful sensations coming to the brain, and brain processes it in a different way and responds to relax the muscles of the scalp, or the soft tissue of the brain, to release the nerves, and therefore relief in the headache. So it is very effective, it is painless, it is non-invasive, and this is one of the leading remedy out of the natural remedies.
Thank you, Dr. Dhingra, for giving us so much information and tips on preventing migraine and getting relief from it. Viewers, stay tuned for our next episode. Until then, goodbye. Stay warm, stay healthy, and stay happy.
Thank you very much, Anika ji. I appreciate.